Hi guys, welcome to Redefined Gospel YouTube channel where we are thriving in Christ. This channel seeks to link the Word of God to the contemporary times and ultimately ensure that we are thriving in Christ. And in addition to being a faith-based content creator, I am a lawyer by profession, and I believe that in whatever space that God has placed me, He has called me to be excellent. And that's why once in a while I share tips, lessons that I have learned throughout my law school journey, even as I go through it, and eventually into the legal career. And I really hope that whatever advice I'll be sharing in this particular video, because today it's a legal based video, that it will be of use to whoever may find this information useful. So if you're interested in all that kind of content, kindly do subscribe, hit on the red button written subscribe, and then click on the bell that will appear, and click on the option all so that you get all post notifications each time I upload. If you're a returning viewer, surely subscribe. Thank you. Let's get right into today's video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about project work at the Kenya School of Law. Tips, lessons, advice that I would give my younger self, or anyone who has just joined the Kenya School of Law, or who will be joining the Kenya School of Law. Simply just project work, how to go about project work, and to ensure that you get good grades, and to ensure that you make the most use of it. And I know if you're already at the Kenya School of Law, if you joined the Kenya School of Law this year, you've probably heard that it is important to maximize on your oral exams marks and your project work marks, so that then you don't have such a heavy burden that you're lifting in the CLE exams. Not to say that you will not be studying, not to say that you will not be very serious and diligent as you prepare for your CLE exams, but it lifts some weight, because you know that the marks that you're looking for are not so many marks. So for oral exams, it's normally out of 20, and for project work out of 20. So those are 40 marks that you can actually make sure that you maximize and get the most that you can. So I have been getting questions on my Instagram DMs, on YouTube comments, and WhatsApp for those who have my number, and they advice around how do I ensure that project work becomes very, I wouldn't say seamless, but very fruitful, and at the end of the day we get good marks as a firm. What are the lessons that I have learned? What is the kind of advice that I will give? And in addition to project work, I've also been getting, actually when I finished doing my oral exams, I already had Instagram DMs of people saying, please share video on your oral exams experience. And behold, I was waiting for my oral exams results, and I'll be sharing that. So if you're seeing this on the material day or week, then next week but one, that video will be up. So for today, I'm going to be sharing about project work, how to go about project work, what I did or what we did as a firm to ensure that we get good marks. And fortunately enough, we got really good marks, and that's what I'm going to be sharing. What are the strategies that we put in place? What can you do even as on an individual level to ensure that you're getting the most out of the project works? Without further ado, let us get right into tips for ensuring that your project work becomes a success. So I have a total of 14 tips, 14 lessons for you ensuring that your project work is a success. And I want to just give a disclaimer that this is not a blueprint that when you use this formula and then you fail, then you will be up there on my email. What happened? It's just a guide, and it may in one way or another make the experience easier for you, and it may also lead to you getting good marks. And I also want to say that sometimes other factors come into play, maybe the lecturer, the kind of leniency they have or lack of it. There's all that, but at least ensure that you give your best, and these tips will ensure that you are giving your best as far as project work is concerned. In case you don't know what project work is, you're probably at law school. Project work is simply like the way you used to have group work. So you have a number of around 8 to 12 maybe more or less 8 to 12 members. You're put in a farm, you don't choose. So it's not like campus where you choose, oh, this will be in my group already. It's already there's also already a predetermined list, and you know who is going to what farm. And so these are very new people. You may be lucky to get people that you know from your campus, but it's not, you can't get all of them that you know. So you're working with very new people. And I'm just imagining, for us, we had a little opportunity of 2 months or so to be physically before, you know, the pandemic came. But now for this cohort, I know what's happening is that you are meeting online for the very first time. So I know there are other dynamics that play into that come into play. So let me get into the tips. Number 1, understand your farm. Understand the kind of dynamics you're working with as a farm. Now, how do you, now I know you're like, how do I understand that? The beauty of at the point at which project work comes in, it normally comes in at the end of first term towards second term. And so then by that time, you've probably done group presentations, hopefully so, or you have worked on a group assignment together. So use that to gauge the kind of people that are in the farm, because there are different kinds of people. You can't really gauge people by how loud that person is, how much they are talking on WhatsApp. You can't really gauge with that, because there are people who talk a lot, but when it comes to delivery of work, they don't deliver work, or when they deliver work, it's not quality work. So be sure to just learn people. Learn how is this person, how do they work, what kind of work do they give, is it quality work? And I'm under the assumption that you who's watching this, then you know what is quality work and what's not. If you don't really know, especially in terms of the Kenya School of Law, I know there's a point that we'll go in depth about it, but you can know someone who's willing to work, not even about quality at this point, but someone who's willing to work, someone who's willing to cooperate. Now, once you understand people, once you understand this person doesn't deliver, even after you get your project work, maybe within the first week, the very first draft you'll be submitting as a firm, you know, within the firm, just to ensure that you're proof checking and all that. And I'm going to get into the whole issue of drafts. It would be important for you now to understand, now this person really works. This one, Nikelele, to this one will never contribute, will never give work. And if they give work, it's work that we cannot really even use it. So then you can form a group within a group. I'm not saying you form another WhatsApp group. I'm not saying that you be like, no, this is group A, this is group B. But you get to know that A, B, and C, we can really work together. Because don't go there with a mentality that all of us have to work equally, all of us have to contribute equally into the work. That's the ideal. And if you get such a firm, that's great, that's fantastic. But if you do not, for instance, for me, I don't, for our firm, not everyone was willing to work, not everyone was willing to give quality work. And so then you understand that I can just work with A, B, C, and D people. For these other people, then I will not really be dependent on these people. We will not be dependent on them. So then if it means you taking more work than you should ordinarily take up that work. Because you know, if you keep on back and forth with people, you waste your time, you get angry. And at the end of the day, even if someone has not contributed, you know that those marks are really important for you. You know that you want to make your burden easier, even in terms of ensuring that you pass. And so then, you know, even if I'm doing more work, I know I'm doing this because I want to get good marks. That's my goal, and I'm working towards my goal. And so then if someone else doesn't have that goal, well and good, they will benefit from the marks. But you know, as a person, you gave your best. You know, as a person, that you did all that you could. And you know, just making peace with, you may not all do equal work. All that to say, just making peace with, you may not all do equal work. The second thing is that, and this maybe should have been the first thing, is that get rid of all those stories you've had, all those biases you've had about farm work. There's a lot of, okay, for me, as I was getting into the Kenya School of Law, there was a lot of negativity around farm work, around farms, around, you know, people will be like, we omba tu upate farm poa, because farms huko ni very hard. You know, there's already biases that you have had and that have been told to you. And I remember the very first video I recorded about the Kenya School of Law as I was joining the Kenya School of Law was a video titled Hello Kenya School of Law. I'm going to link it down below in the description box and on a pinned comment, and there will be a card here. And at the end of this video, I'm going to place a playlist of all my Kenya School of Law videos, so be sure to check that out at the end of the video, so stick along. But there are so many biases and so many stories that you have had. Don't go with just go with a very clean mind to really understand your farm, because farms are unique, they are different. It's good to hear other people's experiences, but don't let that cloud you, such that if someone is unable to attend the meeting just once, you're like, huyu mtu anasumbua nini nini, because it comes from a point of you have heard that these things don't work. You've heard that people are usually very non-cooperative, and so just a little thing, it triggers you. And I don't know if this happened to everyone, but for me, I remember it happened when we were there physically, because already I had heard all these stories, and there was this particular person who wanted to be accommodated and stuff, and at first my very initial reaction was like, wow, now this is the people who, you know, who are very non-cooperative. And this person ended up to be one of the most cooperative person in farm work. So learn people for yourself, and I would dare say, even apart from project work, experience the Kenya School of Law for yourself. Have your own unique experience. I would say for me, I had a very unique experience at Kenya School of Law. It may be different from other people who were in the same class with. It may be different from people from previous years. So just come with a very clean mind, so that then the biases don't just cloud your mind and make you waste a lot of time. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. Number 3, if you know you're a leader, if you know that you are responsible, if you know that you can steer the group to the right direction, don't shy away from taking up a leadership position. That is, leadership position looks big, but taking up either being the farm leader or the farm secretary, don't shy away from that, because by you being a farm leader, and I'm not here to say, no, if all of you are watching going to be farm leaders, like who will not be the farm leader, but I'm just saying, if you know that you are in a position to do that, just do it. Don't shy away, because the beauty of being either a farm leader or a farm secretary is because you're the people carrying the vision for the farm. You're the people who are steering the farm, and so then you're the one guiding the people. This is how it should happen, this is how it should go. And I know and I understand that sometimes you don't know people. Someone will be like, I want to be the farm leader, but at the end of the day, you're keeping on and you're like, wow, this person is the farm leader, but they never convene meetings, this person never comes, this person never gives quality work, this person is just, you know, just the opposite of what a farm leader should be. And there were instances like that. Whenever you're in that situation, so you're not a farm leader, you're not a farm secretary, so you've not taken up that, don't shy away from taking up the lead, even if that person has that title, even if at the end of the day when you'll be printing your project work itakuwa imeandikwa that person is the farm leader. That is very non-consequential. It doesn't matter. Just don't be afraid to work with, the group within a group, as I told you, to just steer the farm forward and say, I think we have been very silent, let's get a time to meet and all that. And automatically, you will probably now be in charge of making sure that the farm runs. Don't sit down and be like, oh, the farm leader is not working, then all of you don't work. The repercussion of that is that time will catch up with you, the deadlines will be there, you will be under pressure, and by the time you're submitting your project work, your orals are around the corner, and I'm going to talk about how to ensure that you're preparing for your orals even as you do your project work, even as you study. But you will be under a lot of pressure. You may end up not performing well because you just sat back and said, I'm not the farm leader. So don't shy away from taking the lead. Don't shy away from taking responsibility, so that you ensure that you get, the most out of your project work. The 4th thing is consult. I don't know how to emphasize this enough. You will get your project work, so you will get question. So for instance, for us, maybe let me just use an example. Like for civil litigation, we were given a scenario, and then you're told your firm is either the respondent or the applicant, so the appellant, or the appellant or the respondent. And then, okay, for us, we were the appellants, and then there was a set of facts. So you have to identify the forum that you're going to go, which court are you going to go, and the court that you will approach then determines the kind of pleadings that you will draft. So then there was that. So it is so easy as a firm to be confined to a certain way of approaching a question. It could be that, it could be any other thing. Every unit has, its own dynamics. It all has its own unique circumstances. Don't shy away from asking people, your friends from other firms, how have you approached this? I'm not saying, asking them, give me your work and you copy and you plagiarize. We all know that is an academic offense, and it's not proper. Trust your mind to give quality work. But just consulting and being in a position where you are like, how did you approach this question? Don't even shy away from asking even people who have gone ahead of you, people who have already got admitted, or people who have already, they've already done their project work. Even if they are not yet admitted, probably they are, in their pupillage or whatever. But people who have gone through that road, so that you consult and ask them, how do you see this question? I remember that we had a question regarding movable property security rights in commercial. That's what our firm was doing, and how the MPSR, the Act, effectively protects third parties. And there's a way we had all interpreted the question. It wasn't until we were doing our 5th draft that we realized that we had answered the opposite of the question. But it came as a result of, first of all, listening to each other, and then consulting other people. For me, consulting people from previous years, and asking them, what do you understand by effectively protecting third parties? How is it different from the third party effectiveness part that is there in the MPSR Act? So then it is really important for you to consult. Don't be there in your firm, just in your firm going on. You don't even want to share how you're approaching a question, because either way, even if you approach the question the same way, you won't write the same way, you won't write the same cases. Obviously the sections may be the same, but the style of writing may not be the same. So consult. The next one is that this, I don't know if I would call this a Tpose, but you are not there to please everyone. You're not there to make friends and to be nice and everything. I'm not saying you be rude or disrespectful, but just understand we are here to do the work. And so then, if someone is not doing what they ought to do, just tell them that I'm not pleased by how you're going about this. There's this work that you needed to do. I have not seen it, especially if you're the one compiling the work. I have not seen it, and I would really like you to tell me what deadline will you give me for you to deliver this work. It's the same way, because I feel like this trains you. Project work trains you for a law firm, because when you go to a law firm, you don't choose. So you'll go there, apply for the law firm. You won't choose your colleagues. Well, your employer will choose, this colleague, this other colleague, and this other colleague. It doesn't mean that you will all gel together, but there's one common factor. You want the work done. You want your targets met. So then that should be the same approach. Don't be there and feeling like, staki kumwambia, or because even in the workplace, when you go to the workplace, someone will send you the email and say you needed to do X, Y, Z. You have not done this, redo the work. You have not done this, rework the work. That's the kind of, a very professional relationship. So if you make friends, well and good. But if you don't make friends, it's still fine. The primary goal of you being there is to ensure that you get the work done, and not only get the work done, but get quality work done. And at the end of the day, to get good marks that will enable you to have a lighter burden even as you prepare for your CLE exams. The next thing is on organization. Make sure as a farm you are organized. So for our farm, what we did, we created an email address. So we had an email address, and then from the email address we had a Google Drive, and in the Google Drive we had different folders for each of the units. Then under each folder we had the drafts, where we'll place the drafts, where we'll place the final documents, where we will place the attendance sheets, and where we will place the minutes. So that made it very easy. And because initially I was the one doing most of the compiling of the initial drafts that we were doing, so then in my computer I had folders I had a project work folders, and inside there I had divided that way, so such that if we needed to retrieve at the end of the day when we will be printing, if we need to retrieve something like draft 3 or draft 2 for someone who wants to do the minutes and to know what we did in draft 1, draft 2, draft 3, draft 4, it saves you a lot of time. And then it also ensures that at the end of the day, after you're done, you're not printing out draft 1, because it's very easy. Because for me, I found it very difficult sending work through WhatsApp every now and then. I just found it easier to use email. So your preference, you can use that. Another thing that I did, because then I was the farm leader, then I created a schedule. So I knew we had targets. So we'll say for this week, what we'll be looking at professional ethics, criminal litigation, and this. What is required for this is X, Y, Z. The work should be submitted maybe 2 days, or sometimes it will be a day, but sometimes we will just compile and submit within the material day. So for us, we used to meet in the evenings. So submitting work beforehand gave me an opportunity. For me, I will just take the work that has been compiled, read through the work, insert comments on the work, and then that is what we will project and discuss with the view of the comments that had been given. So then in the next, when we are reworking the next draft, then we ask ourselves, you are supposed to do X, Y, Z, it was in the comments, why have you not delivered? Or why did you then approach it this way? So then that became easy. Organization is very important, and for you to understand how much time do we have for this project work. So we knew that, for instance, you have like a month to do this project work. How many units do we have? We have 9 units. How many drafts do we want to have done? 4 drafts. So the more drafts you do, the more you refine your work, the more you identify mistakes, the more you get the loopholes. So you can't just do one draft and then you compile, someone compiles, and then you say, we have done the project work, we have finished the project work. So it is really important to really work. First of all, I don't know if I have that point there. Yeah, I'll get to that. I'll get to what was in my mind right now. The next thing is build your own systems. Build your own systems of working, how you go about things. Okay, for us, initially what I'll do, I'll compile all the work, and it became tiresome. And I think it goes with the next point of delegation. So what happened is that then we then divided and said, so will be compiling commercial transactions. This other person, criminal litigation, conveyancing, etc, etc. So then after that, then we also decided that we will be meeting at 6 p.m. And then we also decided we'll meet this day, and this day. That's not what everyone will do. Some people will meet in the morning because I was in the afternoon class. Just build your own systems, and systems that are convenient for everyone. Don't just insist that we have to meet in the morning because people are meeting in the morning. Create your own systems for your farm, systems that will work for you people, systems that will be convenient for everyone. Not everyone, because sometimes you just can't bring everyone on board, but a majority of the people. So create your own systems. And then on delegation, don't take up all the work. I said you can take up most of the work, but don't take up all the work when you have people you can actually delegate to. So that's one thing that I had to learn. Personally, I'm that one person who can literally take up all the work, and it ends up overwhelming me. And so then I had to learn to delegate and to be in a position where I'll be like, I will not do minutes, so X do minutes, this person do minutes, and then I'll pull my weight this way. So yeah, delegation does not mean that you don't do anything and you're just sitting pretty as the farm leader or farm secretary or whatever. Okay. And Also, I think I didn't say this point even as I go to the part where I say that you work with those people who can who are really showing commitment to work. I would also say it's really important for you to understand each other's strengths. For me, with time, actually, by the time we get to the second draft, I knew that if it's an issue to do with drafting, there's this particular person who I will say, you do this question for drafting. When it came to things that we needed to do that are maybe IT related or something, there was like someone who was strength on that, who had strength, whose strength was on those things. If it's something to do with certain aspects, you will just know each other's strengths, and when you understand people's strengths, then it is ensuring that you just maximize on other people's strengths. That's what I'm trying to say. Maximize on each other people's strengths. So there are people who are really good at drafting. There are people who, their research work in terms of getting, the latest case law, getting very relevant case law. They're really good at that. Then maximize on that strength. The other thing is that make sure you attend class. And I know you're like, and we're talking about project work. Where does a class come in? But why I'm saying ensure that you attend class is because most of the lecturers will talk about their project work. They will talk about how they intend you to approach a certain question. For instance, our legal writing and drafting lecturer had already told us, this is how I expect the legal opinion to look like. This is how I expect the case brief to look like, or the research outline to look like. This is how I expect it to look like. So then it became very easy for us because we already had a roadmap of how things needed to go. For probate and administration lecturer, there's some points that there's a certain question that she talked about during class, and I remember also she was one person who really wanted recent case law. So when you understand the kind of lecturer you have, they're the lecturers who will mark your project work, then you ensure that there's a lot of recent case law. So attend class and throughout that, actually throughout Kenya School of Law, but be very attentive, because once in a while the lecturers will throw hints here and there on how they expect their project work to be done. So the next point is do as many drafts as possible, and I'll start off even before I go to that point that I'm going to talk about how we normally approached it as a firm. So what we would normally do is read the question first. So we individually, like, you go read the question and you talk about how do you think we should approach this question. Then we have a discussion on that. So we have pointers. Then after that, after we have discussed, then one of us then does a Word document with the outline of how the introduction will look like, how the body of the work will look like, what we'll need to be looking at, and all those details. Then we share with the group, and then if there are loopholes, then people identify. Then after that, based on the outline, then we list out the areas that need to be worked on and how many people need to work on that particular area. So if it's, for instance, let me use the example of, let me look for a unit that was easily, like, for instance, for legal practice and management, where we were talking about business strategy for a floriculture farm or something of that sort. So we had the legal framework, we had an analysis of the business, we had the mathematical part, the finance part, we had the employment part. So then we know if it's, for instance, the finance part, we don't want to have like 3 people doing that or 4 people, because it's mathematics and the figures have to be aligned and all. So we just give 2 people. If it's the legal framework, then how many people are we giving? 4 people. So we will have a text that is outlining that with gaps. So everyone goes and fills in that chain. You fill, and then I would take note of that, and I will list that in a Word document, so that then I know who is doing what. And then the person compiling then would know who's doing what part. So as they are compiling, they're like, who has not given me the work, they can refer to that. So then after that, then we will do the very first draft, and then we submit, we do the comments, the way forward, we'll have way forwards, and then sometimes I will do some meeting notes. So then I'm like, these are the pointers, this is what we'll be looking at in the next meeting as we meet for the next unit. So basically, just be organized, just take it very seriously. Do as many drafts as possible. The more the drafts, the more refined your work is. And I'm saying the more the drafts, not like draft 2 is still when you draft 1 ilikuwa people didn't do their work, then there's no way forward. So, and that's why I said sometimes you have to be stern. You're not there to make friends or to be regarded as the nicest of persons. You respectfully and lovingly correct and and point out when things are not going as they should be going. And then the other thing, and I think it's the last time I had written here, take the largest portion of work. It's fine. I think I have addressed that. And then also understanding your dynamics, the team dynamics. The more you understand your farm, the dynamics around your farm, then work around that, and don't let people not working, people not cooperating frustrate you. Work with those who are willing to work. And then finally, just God. Yeah, redefine gospel. But anyway, like on a serious note, commit your plans to God to direct you. Make sure that you are, even as you approach whatever you'll be doing at the Kenya School of Law, just pray for God's favor. You may do all those work, and minus God's favor, it may be difficult. It may not turn out as you desire. So just asking God to order and guide your steps, guide the steps of your farm, that you go in the right direction. And also at the same time, just even as you're submitting, pray over favor, before the lecturers, even as they mark it, and just leave it to God. But do your best and leave the rest to God. The rest, God will take charge of it. So yeah, do your best. Put your best foot forward, even if it means. I remember doing a conveyancing project work overnight, and I knew that some XYZ people were supposed to do that work. They didn't. And I would have just sat down and said, we'll just submit like that. But what would it have cost us? We didn't have got maybe the marks that we got. So it's very important for you to just give your best, give it your all, give this your all. It's just a couple of months and you will be done with project work, and it will be something you will be remembering from the past. And some of you may have very good experiences. Some of you will have very bad experiences. And it's totally fine. Don't let it weigh you down. Just understand this is the kind of situation I'm in, and I require to do a bit much more, and it's just fine. Just do it and know that you did your best at the end of the day. So those are the tips and the lessons. I think this video is going to be one long one, but I really hope that they are not obvious tips. They're not tips like, who doesn't know that? It's something that's not obvious. So tell me what stands out for you in the comment section. And then also, if you have already passed through this and you are watching and you're at this point of this video, drop your tip or your lesson or something that you would tell someone joining the Kenya School of Law and getting into project work. And then also, I'm going to be sharing about my oral exams experience, so be sure to be on the look for that. Do share this video to your friends, your fellow classmates at the Kenya School of Law. Really appreciate. If you've not subscribed, do subscribe. There is more legal content on this channel coming your way, so be sure to subscribe, hit on the bell, click on the option all, so that you get all post notifications each time I upload. Give this video a thumbs up, and yeah. And there's some videos that will be around here that will be having a Kenya School of Law playlist, my recent video and other videos, and you can keep on binging on my content. So yeah, that will be it for this week's video. See you next week on Sunday at exactly 6 p.m. And as always, remember that God loves you a lot. Until next week, bye bye.